Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide. I'm gonna let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in, that maybe you're interested in, are coming out. Like always, in the description, I'll include links to any trailers that might be available to anything that I bring up during this month's watch list. On September 3rd on Netflix, we have Wednesday Season 2 Part 2, which I'm very excited, giving us the back half of the season, the last 4 episodes of the season. Obviously, episode 4 of the first half of the season left on a pretty big cliffhanger, some interesting developments, and some interesting reveals. I've avoided a trailer, so I have no idea what to fully expect for these next 4 episodes, but I'm excited to see what twists and turns and future developments Wednesday takes and what that kind of means for the future. But love the show, and I'm excited to get more of it. On September 7th on Netflix, we have a new-ish anime series, I'll get to that in a little bit, called The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Basically, my understanding is that it's kind of almost as Romeo and Juliet-esque romance, where basically a boy and a girl, not necessarily rival schools, but different schools, where one goes to an all-girls school and one goes to an all-boys school that are like right next to each other or across from each other, but they don't ever intertwine. And in fact, like the girls' school kind of hates the boys' school, and it's these two lovers, like I said, Romeo and Juliet-esque, where it's like there's like a budding romance between them, and it's kind of like, you know, the fallout of, they were never meant to meet, but they did, and how their lives become intertwined, and kind of what the, not necessarily, fallout isn't the right word, but the aftermath of it, and just kind of like where their story goes from there. You know, I'm interested to see it. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And this is where I was talking about earlier, where I said new-ish, because the show is already, I don't know if it's finished internationally, but I know it has aired internationally already. This is its debut here in the US, is going to be now, so just kind of clarifying. Also on September 7th on HBO and HBO Max, we have a new series called Task, where we have Mark Ruffalo playing the head of this new task force that's put together to hunt down these home invasion robberies led by Tom Pelphrey's character. Essentially, I think he's part of a biker gang, but the thing is, I don't think they're robbing for regular people. I believe they are stealing from like other criminals, and it seems like it's going to be like this dual story of, you have like the cop that's hunting them and that's also following the criminal who's kind of got like a semi-heart of gold, because everything he's doing is for his family, and I might have to do some nasty stuff, might have to go about it the worst way, but if it's for my family's sake, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And that conundrum, because it also seems like Mark Ruffalo's character seems to have some tragic past or some mistakes he's made in the past that he wants to try and make up for, but doesn't know if he can. So it seems like this interesting duality with the story. It seems really interesting. I try to avoid looking too deeply into it or reading too much about it, but I watched part of the trailer and that was the sense I got. Like I said, it seems really interesting, and I'm excited to check it out when it comes out. On September 9th on Hulu, we have the 5th season of Only Murders in the Building, which I'm very, very excited about. I love the show, and I'm always excited for a new season. Just based on the previews I've seen, I've avoided watching any full trailers, but this seems to be like the mob season. It seems like a lot of the murder at the end of last season, and the crux of this season is going to be like revolving around the mob, maybe, you know. Once again, like, you know, it seems like we're going to get some familiar faces, well, rather new faces from last season who are now familiar faces to us. Sorry, I'm struggling through that. Returning this season, but also brand new faces in general. Obviously, this series always continues to be the very star-studded cast situation that is when it comes to guest starring roles and stuff. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to see how everything unveils itself over the course of this new season. On September 17th on Prime Video, we have Season 2 of Gen V, which I'm so excited about. Loved Season 1 of Gen V. Hell, I love the boys in general, so continuing down in this universe, I'm very excited about, especially picking up with like where Marie and them ended up at the end of everything. I've avoided the trailers like the plague. I'm assuming timeline-wise, we're going to be picking up maybe during or probably after the events of season 4 of The Boys, so how that affects everything going on with Maria and them, and how they even get out of their circumstances, and what the story ends up being. Like I said, I've avoided all the trailers, so I have no idea what to expect this season, other than the general wild craziness that is The Boys, you know, universe in general. So on September 21st on Paramount Plus, we have season 3 of Tulsa King, which I'm very, very excited about. I actually don't fully remember where season 2 ended. I'm pretty sure everything was resolved for the most part, so I think there on a pretty good footing at the end of last season going into this season, but I'm sure it's just going to be about expanding operations and where we go from there. You know, I think there's going to be some faces that were introduced last season. We're going to get some more of them this season, I believe. So I'm really excited. Love Tulsa King. Very excited to see what this season has in store for us. On September 24th on Disney Plus, we have Marvel Zombies, which I'm very, very excited about. It was originally apparently supposed to come out October 3rd, but they moved it up a week apparently. So unless anything changes, that's the current new date. But my understanding is that this is not set in the same universe as the episode 5 of season 1 of What If. It's a completely different universe. I don't know if the zombie breakout is going to be the same reason as in that episode, but yeah, it's going to be a 4-part episode thing. I do believe I was seeing that it's going to be weekly. It's not going to be an all episode drop, but I'm excited to see. Obviously this is going to be, I think it's going to be MA, so obviously it's going to be you know, that was a pretty dark story. There was some levity to it, but it was a pretty dark story in season 1, so we're probably going to dive into that. Obviously this project's been in the works for a while, so we know some of the characters that are going to pop up, but it's going to be interesting to see, you know, all the characters that pop up and what roles they end up playing throughout. So I'm very, very excited to see what the series has in store for us. Also on September 24th on Prime Video, we have Hotel Costeria. I'm probably butchering that. I'm so sorry. Where we have Jesse Williams playing kind of a fixer, acting as like a concierge for like the guy who runs a hotel. It's like, oh, this is his fix-it guy, and it seems like he kind of, you know, does some stuff outside of the law. But when the guy who owns a hotel, I believe his daughter gets kidnapped, it's up to Jesse Williams' character to put together his little squad as they try to save her. It just seems like a really neat kind of like maybe actiony comedy thriller. Seems to be the vibe of it. I've watched some of the trailer, trying not to watch too much of it, but it seems interesting for what I saw, so I'm excited to check it out. On September 25th on Netflix, we have the 3rd season of Alice in Borderland, which I'm so excited for. My basic understanding, without even going into spoilers, is that season 1 and 2 of Alice in Borderland, for the most part, there's some stuff that was changed, some stuff was cut, some stuff was compressed, but for the most part, seasons 1 and 2 tells the entire story of the manga. This season, I'm assuming, is because there's 2 spin-off mangas that it seems like they might be adapting for this one. And I know one of them kind of acts as a sequel manga. The other one, I don't know where it takes place timeline-wise, so I don't know if like they're only adapting one of these spin-off mangas or are they both being combined into one season. The trailer just came out like maybe a day or 2 ago at the time of me recording this. I did not watch it because I want to go into this season knowing as little as possible. I do know a little synopsis of what the main part of like what the general premise of one of these spin-off mangas is that they're adapting. So, but other than that, I have no idea what the games are going to look like, who these other new characters are that we're going to meet, but there's at least 1 or 2 returning faces. I don't know how many other people are going to return. I actually don't know that. That's not me being coy either. I have no idea, but I love and adore this show. I need to check out the manga at one point in time just to kind of compare and contrast it to the first 2 seasons and just the series as a whole, but I'm so excited. And finally, also on September 25th, on Crunchyroll, there's going to be a 5th/bonus episode for the series Let's Go Karaoke. If you don't know, basically the series involves a Yakuza member befriending a middle schooler and getting him to teach him to sing, and they go to karaoke together. There's actually a lot more to it, but I highly recommend watching the show to find out the reason why this pair came together. But either way, the first 4 episodes have already previously aired, and this is based on my understanding what I was reading online, but basically these first 4 episodes tell the entire story of the manga. Apparently this 5th/bonus episode is going to be an original story made specifically for the anime. So I'm very excited to see what this episode ends up being and the content and context of like everything that goes down in it, because everything's pretty much resolved by the end of episode 4. Like I said, it tells the entire story of the manga, so I'm curious to see what the story's content is, like I said, but also like where it fits in the frame of the entire story. So that brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of that you're aware of, that maybe you think me or someone else would be interested in, don't be afraid to leave it in the comment. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.